It's a victory Monday. Yes, guys, doesn't get any better than this. Mondays suck, don't they? Mondays are not great. Everyone hates a Monday. Well, I think most people hate a Monday. I think 90% of the British population hate a Monday. Monday is like the ugly child of the family, isn't it? We kind of have to tolerate it because it's kind of ours, but we don't like it very much. But at least today's Monday. Monday today is a bit better than previous Mondays because it's a victory Monday, because Rangers won yesterday away at Livingston on that hideous plastic pitch, which should be got rid of. I mean, Philippe Clement was kind of hinting at that in his post-match interview. A fine 2-0 victory for Rangers in a game that could have been a lot more than that. Obviously, disallowed goal for Ross McCausland, disallowed goal for Connor Goldson, a missed James Tavernier penalty, another sitter missed by Searle Dessers, the serial misser of goals. It could have been a lot more than the 2-0. I mean, the first half was better than the second half. The second half was fairly dire in terms of the fact that it became a bit of a training exercise rather than an actual football match. And Livingston are a strange team, considering they're bottom of the league and they need to get out of that, to not even try effectively to attack, not even try to have a go, and kind of settle for trying to get beat by as little as possible was fairly awful, if I'm being honest. Well, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about that game yesterday. Obviously, we're going to touch on Philippe Clement and his post-match reaction to the Livingston game, and also what a bit about his record since he's come to the club. We're going to talk about a new deal for a young player. That's right, another young player has committed his future to Rangers. Great news. And there's another young player we need to get under contract. Well, and also a bit of a VAR controversy, a bit of a Todd Cantwell controversy as well. We're talking a little bit of Todd. We're talking a little bit of Todd controversy in this video. Where do we start? Let's start, obviously, with yesterday's game. A fine 2-0 victory with goals from Miracle of Miracles. Yes, hell has frozen over. Searle Dessers, a beautiful ball from Tom Lawrence through, and Searle Dessers scores in the way that he can by scuffing it into the back of the net. And then James Tavernier, second attempt, as he did against Hearts, scores to make it 2-0 to Rangers. As we uttered those three words twice yesterday that cause a timplosion, that cause a meltdown on the other side of the city. Penalty to Rangers. Now, Philippe Clement has been speaking to the media post Livingston, and it's fair to say that this man is just, I love him. He's just a brilliant guy. He's just a superb guy. He's come and he's made the world of difference to this team. He really has, in terms of the way we play, in terms of the structure, in terms of the identity, in terms as well of the resilience as well. That is another thing I think stands out. I honestly think that Rangers teams under Gio and under Michael Beale would have kind of given up a little bit yesterday after that Goldson disallowed goal and that James Tavernier missed penalty. I think there'd been some sulking. I think there would have been a kind of giving up, and there would have been a kind of, I don't know, just a kind of acceptance. No, we're not going to score today. Let's just do. We can just get on with it, and we'll see what happens, and that's it. And then it'll end 0-0 or perhaps 1-1 or something like that. But no, Philippe Clement will not tolerate that, and he's instilled a belief in this team. He spoke to the media after Rangers' victory at the Spaghetti Had yesterday. He called it a mature performance on a tricky synthetic pitch, and I think it was mentioned as well, wasn't it, that there are no other synthetic pitches in Europe in major leagues, and it's, I think, a bit of a joke that we have two in this league. I genuinely think there should be a move by the SFA to outlaw them in Scotland. He said also it was a 12 o'clock kickoff after a European success. So these are all things that are tricky from the squad and the state of mind of the players, as they can be less sharp. Obviously, there's a fatigue there, and it's going to come after that European game, an intense European night at Ibrox against a very good Sparta Prague team. He said, so I'm really happy with the team that showed the right mentality, because all of the game we were dominant and we didn't give away anything, and we could have scored more goals than two. And he's right in that aspect. We could have got more than two, like I said, and I think we did show the right mentality. We showed a never say die attitude. We never gave up, even when decisions didn't go our way. We didn't sulk. We just kept on going. He says, for me, it's not about the starting 11. It's about the squad. We are going to need the squad after the international break. And he's right. Now, this is the bit he talked about. We have 12 games in 38 days. So it's going to be a really busy schedule, and we will need everyone to be at their best level. And we are going to need to rotate. And I think there was evidence, wasn't there, in the team today of rotation. You know, the fact that McCausland started, the fact that Searle Dessa started in place of Danilo, the fact that Balogun started in place of Davis. There was some elements there of rotation, wasn't there? And I think we're going to see more elements of rotation as we go through. He says everybody also needs to understand how to run, when to run, and what to do with the ball and without the ball, having these connections together. It's about the building the squad and about how players can interchange, that next man up philosophy, that once you take one player out and put a different player in, you don't see a difference. You see the same formation, the same shape, the same identity, the same structure, and the same way of playing, no matter what. And I think obviously this international break will give him an opportunity to further instill his beliefs, further instill his tactics, further instill his structure into the players that are here and are not heading off on an international break. He said you can only do it with a lot of training sessions, but also get experience from games. He also praised Ross McCausland as well. He said that he's still a young lad, but with the right mentality. He works very hard in training and he's very focused. And I'm also a manager who gives young players, if they show the right things in training, and I'll pick the right members to put them in or bring them in. But all these things are positive. You see the players who didn't start on Thursday, who are important today, and the others who were important on Thursday come in with the right energy. So we are building a good team, and that's very important to me. I want to see a team, a dressing room where I don't see a difference with who is starting and who is not starting, but that everybody counts on each other and we are a real team on and off the pitch. Good sentiments there from Philippe Clement. And he's right. You know, we do need a philosophy where there is no division and the players don't sulk and the players know that, you know, they may not play this week, but they'll play next week and there's a rotation there. And there is a clear, you know, togetherness, you know, a one team philosophy, and that is something we 100% need going forward. And I think Philippe Clement has really got that and really pulled that into the team and got this team playing in the right way. You know, one player who I was really, really impressed with yesterday, and for me, it was between this man here, Tom Lawrence, and Ross McCausland for man of the match yesterday. I thought both of them, you know, were just absolutely superb yesterday. Tom Lawrence showed what he's got, the eye for a pass, you know, the forward motion, you know, his ability to attack, his ability to be that creative influence. And, you know, yes, I think we're lucky in terms of the fact there was him, there was Todd Cantwell. I think, you know, with Cantwell and Lawrence being, for me, front runners for that 10 spot, I don't think Sam Lammers should get anywhere near this team with those two around. And Tom Lawrence, I thought, played very, very well indeed yesterday. Now, talking of Todd Cantwell, now Todd obviously came on in the second half and was pretty much immediately booked for an incident on the touchline where he got into a bit of a contretemps, shall we say, with one of the Livingston players. And there's a few fans criticising him and a few commentators criticising him, saying that Todd Cantwell needs to calm down and cut this out. But what did he say? So this is why he got so worked up, and this is why he responded to the challenge. This is what happened. Let's have a look. You can see here a high boot on his leg. Now that could have broken his leg. That challenge could have broken his leg. Yet, as he put on his Instagram yesterday, no VAR check for this. That is a challenge that could have put him out for the season. That isn't even the challenge that could have ended his career. And yet no action is taken. Yet nothing is said. And what happens? It's him that gets criticised. It's him that gets picked on by the media and by some fans wrongly, saying that he needs to grow up, that he needs to stop this thing. I'm not being funny, but if someone did that to you and you could see your career being ended by that, you would react in an angry manner too. You would react in the way that Todd Cantwell reacted. And that is bang out of order. You know, that is an incident there that could have seriously injured a player. Now, I know Rangers have suffered a fair degree of injuries with muscle injuries and conditioning injuries, as Philippe Clement has said, but we are getting our fair share of, you know, of injuries that are down to hammer throwers, that are down to impact injuries, that are down to our players not being protected. And this is an example of it. Cloggers from pathetic little teams kicking our players and trying to deliberately damage them, which is what this guy is doing. What this guy is doing here. You know, he could have ended Cantwell's career. He could have smashed his leg. And I think it's absolutely outrageous that no action was taken against him, and there was no condemnation of the Livingston player whose name I can't remember now. And there was no VAR check on that. That is a disgusting incident. So as you criticise Todd Cantwell for what he did, just look at that, and you tell me you wouldn't have reacted in the same way if someone had done that to you. Nearly tried to break your leg. That is absolutely disgusting. And it's disgusting that player who pretty much got away with it. And the only player that gets the booking at the end of that is Todd Cantwell. That's out of order. There's got to be, if the Scottish League wants to be taken seriously, if the Scottish League wants teams to be competitive and attract top players and keep hold of top players, they need to protect those players. You cannot have top players come into the league and going up against players whose sole intent is to kick and injure them. I mean, that's pub football. That's what it is. It's pub league football. And Livingston were a little better than a pub team yesterday anyway. They were an absolute pub team yesterday. They were an embarrassment to the league with the way they played. And a lot of teams in the Scottish Premier League are a bit of a joke, in terms of the way they go out about playing us and the way they go about playing that lot from across the city. I mean, take Aberdeen, for example, and Chris Boyd. I don't know if you heard his rant out on Sky Sports. And he talked about the fact that it was embarrassing and pathetic how Aberdeen, surrendered 6 goals, and they were 3-0 down. I think it was at 90 minutes. And then by the end of the game, they were 6-0 down, and they just capitulated, surrendered, gave up. And, they can talk about the after Europe, they can talk about the fatigue after Europe. But, if you're a top club, which Aberdeen claimed to be, you should be able to cope with those 2 games. But they lay down and they died today. But as he said on his interview, Chris Boyd said, but Barry Robson will have no problems getting them up for their next game, because Rangers are in town. Standard thing with Aberdeen. Absolute joke of a club. Absolute Mickey Mouse tin pot joke of a team. So Alex Ferguson would be, I think I'm sure he is, ashamed of Aberdeen and what they've become. Let's talk about a young player now. I don't want to sound good, but positive. Let's get off the subject of fouling and that. So John Lee Yfeko, who really impressed during pre-season, played the odd game this season, has signed a new contract with the club. He was someone who was out of contract this summer. He was somebody who, we could have lost out on, but he has signed that new contract, which is fantastic news to have John Lee under contract. He signed a contract extension until May 2026. He did make his debut this season in the 2-1 victory over Greenock Morton in the Viaplay League Cup. He's also been a regular in the B team as well. Academy director Zeb Jacobs talked about the fact that John Lee had signed a new contract. He said that we are delighted that John Lee has extended his contract at Rangers. It is recognition of his development since joining the club, and his recent experience with the first team is a testament to his hard work, focus and dedication. It's a long road ahead with different obstacles and challenges that he needs to overcome, but we are really excited by his potential and look forward to his continuous growth on and off the pitch. And I think it's fantastic news. John Lee Yfeko is a player with a very bright future. Some people even dubbing him Calvin Bassey 2.0. And I think it's fantastic news, absolutely fantastic news, that he is under contract until 2026 and that he will now have an opportunity to continue that development. And hopefully, as the season goes on and as we go into next season and as the seasons pass, get an opportunity to play for the first team. I think this lad has more than enough talent to do that. Now, obviously, the focus very much is at this point now trying to get Ross McCausland to be the next young player who signs a new contract. Apparently, contract negotiations are ongoing with Ross, and Philippe Clement has talked, hasn't he, about the fact that the best place for Ross is Rangers. And hopefully, by giving him these first team opportunities, he will see that this is the best place for him to further his career and obviously continue the progression that he's shown with the first team. But certainly, encouraging news on John Lee Yfeko. Great to have him under the contract and at the club long term. So, guys, you know what? It has been a pretty good weekend in terms of Rangers, a 2-0 victory, a victory that obviously will help us, hopefully, if we win our game, when we win our game in hand. Let's think positively, keep the pressure up on that lot from across the city, put us in a place going into that next Old Firm game in December where we can really turn up the heat on Brendan Rodgers' Celtic. Well, guys, if you can join us for the pod tonight, 8:15, it's myself, it's Scotty Mackay from Rangers Assessment, and Inside Ibrox, and also Shona McLean as well. It'd be great to have some guests on the pod tonight at 8:15 here on YouTube, so come and join us for that. Now, as always, guys, there is a couple of things I really need you to do for me. Number one is obviously subscribe. Please subscribe. It does help the channel grow. But more importantly, let's say two things on the way out. Number one, smash the like. And please always remember something from me. We are the people.